This is lesson 2-5B from the Algebra Readiness textbook. For today's lesson, you will need a sharpened pencil in your notes paper. Give these 3 problems a try, and then come on back to compare your answers. All right, the first thing that you should do is draw a line down the equal sign. I'm trying to find out the value or the solution, so the value of m. To do that, I need to use inverse operations. The inverse of adding 5 is subtracting 5. So I subtract 5 from both sides of the equal sign. Then I draw a long line like an equal to bar, and I write what's remaining on both the left and the right side of my vertical line. The m is what's left. 5 minus 5, again, we don't write 0, we just X it out. We know in math that that's a universal sign for that being all gone or 0. 11 minus 5 equals 6. Notice how I wrote my equal to sign right on the line. Before I can say for sure that that is the correct answer, I need to check my work. So 6 plus 5, does that equal 11? And 6 plus 5 is 11. So I know for sure that that makes it the equation true. So this is the solution. Okay, a couple more examples. We will have some like these on our upcoming tests and quizzes. So do not use this sign to determine. You use the sign of the number to determine what operation to use. I want to get x by itself. I see that we're adding negative 54. To get that to equal 0 or go away, I need to add 54. That's how it equals 0. So I add 54 to both sides, like the dumbbell, lifting a dumbbell or changing the weights of the dumbbell. Whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. So that equals 0, and x is remaining. And on the right-hand side, I have 152 remaining. Before I can say for sure that that is indeed the solution, I need to check my work. Negative 54 plus 152, does that equal 98? Well, I need to subtract these two numbers because I'm adding a positive and a negative. And, 98, I wrote 99. And that does equal 98, equals 98. So that is true. All right, the last problem on the board here. I'm trying to find out the value of E. E is adding 43. To make that a 0, I need to subtract 43 from both sides. 43 minus 43 is 0. E is remaining on the left. I have a negative 45 minus 43. That's like saying plus negative 43. So that means I'm adding 2 negatives. Remember your adding and subtracting negative rules. And so negative 45 plus negative 43 is negative 83. If you are struggling with adding and subtracting negatives, that was lesson 1-5 and lesson 1-6. You can go back and re-watch those lesson videos to develop a firmer grasp of adding and subtracting negatives. I encourage you to do that if you are still uncertain. Make sure that you check every single problem. And so negative 83 is my E value, plus 43, does that equal negative 45? A negative plus a positive, I subtract the two numbers and do a side problem, but you've already done it, so you know it does equal negative 45. So this is my solution. So today we're going to broaden our understanding of solving one-step equations by not always using subtraction. Sometimes you will have to use addition, whatever the inverse is of what's currently there. So in this example, b minus 12 equals negative 49. I'm trying to find out the value of b. I see that I am subtracting 12. A lot of the steps that we do today are the same as what we did on the previous lesson. Here I draw a line down that my equal sign. I'm trying to find out the solution for the value of b to make this equation true. I do that by using inverse operations. The inverse of subtracting 12 is adding 12. Notice that makes it equal to 0. Whatever I do to the left side, I must do to the right side. Then I draw a long line here, which you should be too, to show that I'm going to write what the new equation equals after I do this adding 12. I still have a b on the left-hand side. Minus 12 plus 12 equals 0, so I put a big X to show 0. Negative 49 plus 12. Well, I'm adding two numbers that have different signs, so I subtract and give the sign of the bigger absolute value. So it's negative 37. And notice I put the equal to sign right on my dividing vertical line. Then I go back and I check my work before I say that I am for sure done with this problem. Negative 37 minus 12 equals negative 49. Well, some of us like to rewrite this as adding negative 12. Negative 37 plus negative 12. I have the same sign, so I add the two numbers, and I get 49. And they're both negative, so I keep the negative. And yes, I get the same answer. That means that negative 37 made that equation true, so it is the solution. All right, I think you're ready to pause the video and try these three problems on your own. Come on back to see that you got the correct answer. All right, hopefully that was enough time for you to check your work, or to do the problem and check your work, because you paused the video. And now we're going to go ahead and work the problem. With every one of these, I'm trying to find out what the value of the variable is, so I see it's subtracting 5. The inverse of subtracting 5 is adding 5. So now I've got y by itself and y equals 13. Your job would be to check it by substituting it back in, and you get 13 minus 5 equals 8. The next problem, I'm trying to find out the value of p. I draw a line down my equal sign. I'm subtracting 30, so the inverse of subtraction is addition. I do exactly the same. Notice I just right away I wrote plus 30 plus 30. In the first one, I wrote plus 5 on both sides of that vertical line. You should be doing the same. Make sure that you've X'd it out to show that that equals 0. P equals 72. And then you check your work and you find out, make sure that you've checked your work. And you'll find out that my answer is correct. The next one, even though the variable is on the right, the process is the same. You need to be comfortable solving from the left or the right. X minus 14. I need to add 14 to both sides. Then I draw the line. This equals 0. X is remaining on the right. 8 plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 9 plus 1 is 11. So my answer is 112. Then do not stop there. You should have checked your work and you will see that that is the correct answer. All right, pause the video. Try these 4. Come on back. Make sure you've checked every answer and then compare how you did it to how I did it. All right, we're back from pausing the video. I'm trying to find out the value of P. I see I'm subtracting 91, so I need to add 91. That equals 0. Now, I have negative 36 plus 91. That requires a negative plus a positive. It requires me to subtract the two numbers. So I'm going to go and do a little side problem where I take 91 minus 36. And I get 55. Now I have to think, should my answer be a positive 55 or a negative? Well, I see that 36 is negative, 91 is positive. I have more negatives than I do more positives than I do negatives. So my answer should be positive. That is the greater absolute value. And then check your work by substituting it back. The next problem, k minus 55 equals 67. I'm going to add 55 to both sides because that would be the inverse of subtracting. What's remaining is this k. I added 55, that equals 0. I put my equal to on the vertical line. 7 plus 5 is 12. 6 plus 5 plus 1 is also 12. Then, before I can say for sure that it's the right answer, I check my work. But for the length of the video, I'm going to make sure, I'm going to just tell you that is the right answer, and your job is to have checked it. Checking is required on all of your assignments. The next one, I'm trying to find the value of m. M is subtracting 17. The inverse of subtraction is adding. So I add 17 to both sides. Then I write what it's equal to. So make sure you're drawing that long bar. Negative or minus 17 plus 17 equals 0. Make sure you're using that x to show that that's gone. What's remaining is the m. That's all I have to write down here on the left. Then I write my equal to right on that vertical line. Negative 8 plus 17. How do I add numbers that have two different signs? The rule is to subtract the numbers and give the sign of the bigger absolute value. So when I subtract, I get 9, and it's positive because the 17 has the greater absolute value. Then I check my work by putting 9 into the original problem and seeing if that does equal negative 8, and it sure does. Next problem. I'm trying to find out the value of w. I do that by using inverse operations. W minus 6 means that I need to do the inverse and add 6. I write plus 6 immediately before I do anything else. I write plus 6 on both sides. Notice I'm always working from the side that has the variable. Negative 16 plus 6. I'm adding two numbers that have different signs, so I have to subtract. 16 minus 6, I get 10. Then I give it the sign of the number with the bigger absolute value. In this case, 16 is the larger absolute value, so my answer would be negative. Before I say, I put a box around it, but before I'm certain that I can move on, I check my answer for that to be sure that negative 10 makes that true, and it does. Okay, next couple problems. Pause the video, give these two a try, but this time we need to combine like terms first. And then solve. Okay, so this is our goal. All right, for this one, I see that I have some like terms here. I have a minus 41 and a minus 3. So let's rewrite this. 68 equals P plus negative 41 plus negative 3. I see that I can combine these two numbers. Before I start solving, I need to get it down to a variable and a number. I don't want all this other stuff happening. Negative 41 plus negative 3 is, notice how I keep my equal to sign right on that vertical line, is a negative 44. Okay. Now I'm going to switch over into solving because I'm down to a variable and a number. Now we're really good at this point. I see this is a negative 44. I need to get this by itself. That by itself means P plus nothing or P plus 0. How do I get negative 44 to equal 0? By adding 44. A number and its opposite always equals 0. So that equals 0. I have P by itself or isolated. 68 plus 44 is 112. Then I check my work. To check it, I say 68 equals 112 minus 41 minus 3. And when I do 112 minus 41 minus 3, I do get 68. Okay, next problem. I see I have to combine some like terms again because I don't have a variable and one number. So I need to simplify and then solve. I find it easiest to simplify if I convert my subtraction to adding the opposite. Then I can use my associative property to group these together. Y plus negative 24 equals 43. Notice my equal sign always stays on that vertical line. Now I'm ready to solve because I have just a variable and a number on one side. So I'm going to add 24 to both sides. This equals 0. Y equals 67. Before I know for sure that that's the right answer, I replace y with 67 in the original problem. And I see if that does equal 43. And when I do the math, it does equal 43. So that checks. All right, 2 problems left. Your friend's speaker costs her $328 less than her TV. Her speakers cost $179. About how much did her TV cost? With all word problems, we read them at least twice. And if you still don't see it, read it a third time. It really does help because your brain needs time to process. Your friend's speakers cost $328 less than her TV. Oops. Her speakers cost $179. How much did her TV cost? So let's go with this. The speakers cost $328 less than her TV. Remember that word less than? And that meant switch the order. So her TV cost can equal T. How about that? So if I know I want to do $328 less than T for TV cost, we know that that is T minus 328. And that will tell me what her speakers equal, which is 179. Now, I want to figure out how much her TV cost. I see it's T minus 328, so I'm going to add 328 to both sides by using inverse operations. This equals 0, and T is remaining on the left. 9 plus 8 is 17. 7 plus 2 plus 1 is 10. Carry the 1. $507. Before I can say for sure that that TV is $507, I am going to check my work. I am going to say 507 minus 328. Does that equal 179? And it sure does. So it checks. That is the right answer. I would like you to try one. This is very similar. Try this one. Pause the video. See if you can write the equation, solve the equation, check your solution, and then compare your answer with mine. All right, a used book costs $17 less than the same new book. The used book costs $9. About how much does the new book cost? Remember, when you see the word less than, that switches the order. So if the new book, the cost of the new book is N, I want to write an expression that shows $17 less than the new book, N. So N minus 17, and that's going to equal the cost of the used book, which is $9. So I'm going to add 17 to both sides. That equals 0. N equals 17 plus 9 is $26. Make sure you label it dollars and then check your work, and you should know that that is the correct answer. Now, I always get kids who say, oh, I did that differently. I just did 9 plus 17 equals N. That's okay. Other people say, I didn't use N, I used X, I used B. That's okay. Use any variable you want. Any letter A through Z is fine. Other people say 17 plus 9. That also works. And lastly, I get people who say, I I do n minus 9 equals 17. And that would